Good morning, and welcome to Redeemer Lutheran Church. I'm Pastor Gary Lodeholt. When the Bible was handed down from one generation to the next, for a long time it was done by oral tradition. Early on, there was no written communication, so the only way people had to tell the stories was by speaking them. And naturally, small details changed as different people told the story. But most scholars agree that the one time that doesn't happen much, the one time when it's hard for people to make changes, is when something rhymes. With rhymes, the meter and the sound remain the same in order for the rhyme to work. That's important as we continue our exploration of some women who played significant roles in the Bible this week. Today, we want to look at Miriam, the sister of Moses. We are probably all familiar with Miriam's early role. When Moses was born, the Pharaoh, fearing that the Hebrews would become too numerous to control as slaves, had declared that all newborn Hebrew male babies should be cast into the Nile. When Moses' mother could no longer hide him, she did follow the decree and cast Moses into the Nile, only she added a little basket that allowed him to float. And she sent Moses' older sister, Miriam, to follow the basket and see what happened. Well, you know how the Pharaoh's daughter found it and decided to keep the child as her own, and that's when Miriam screwed up her courage and approached, saying that she knew a Hebrew woman who had just given birth who could nurse the child. So in the end, Moses' mother got to care for her own child and got paid out of the Pharaoh's treasury to do it. We don't hear anything of Miriam again until after the Hebrew people had been saved. They had passed through the Red Sea, and then the sea had swallowed up the Pharaoh's pursuing army. Then if you look at Exodus 15, you'll find that most of the chapter is made up of a long song that Moses led the people in singing. It's called the Song of the Sea, and it celebrates God's action to save the people. But if you'll look carefully, you'll see a much shorter song there too. It's just 2 verses, and it says, "Then the prophet Miriam, Aaron's sister, took a tambourine in her hand, and all the women went after her with tambourines and with dancing. Miriam sang to them, 'Sing to the Lord, for he has triumphed gloriously. Horse and rider he has thrown into the sea.'" It seems that we have a pattern beginning here that is continued, at least according to Jewish tradition, that Moses taught and instructed the Hebrew men in the statutes of God, while Miriam took the women aside and did the same thing for them. But before we leave Miriam's song, we need to go back to the point I was making about remembering rhyme unchanged over many generations. This little 1-verse song is believed by many scholars to be one of the oldest, unchanged, intact pieces of Scripture that has come down to us. This little song is likely exactly what Miriam said. Now, that's not all the story of Miriam either. As the people wandered in the wilderness and learned about God, she was part of the leadership team with Moses and Aaron, although their positions are certainly more prominent than hers. As I said, she is mostly known for teaching the women God's ways. There was one other instance where she stands out, however. After Moses' first wife died, Moses married a Cushite woman. No one knows for sure, but if she was from Cush, she was probably black. Aaron and Miriam spoke against Moses for marrying her, and then God came down and made it clear in no uncertain terms that Moses was number 1 and the leader of God's people. And after that, Miriam appeared white as if she had a skin disease, and Aaron begs for forgiveness and for Miriam to be healed, and Moses relays the prayer to God, and Miriam is healed. So there we have Miriam, tambourine player, singer, teacher to women, and a woman who gave us perhaps the oldest intact scripture we have, but also a real woman who had opinions and needed and received forgiveness too. Hebrew tradition cites her as one of 8 great prophetesses in Israel's history. Thanks for watching, and remember to let this day belong to God.